Let me start with a question. What if your entire life could change, not by chance, but by 8 decisions you make today? Not luck, not timing, not opportunity, 8 simple, powerful choices that will decide who you become 10 years from now. Because the truth is, life doesn't change when circumstances change. It changes when you decide differently. Most people wait for clarity before they decide, but clarity doesn't come first, decision does. Once you decide, your world begins to align with that choice. And by the time we finish today, I promise, you'll not only understand these 8 decisions, you'll feel a deep urge to start living them right now. Decide to take full responsibility. There's a moment in life, quiet, invisible, yet profoundly powerful, when everything begins to change. It's not when we land our dream job or when someone finally believes in us. It's the moment we stop saying, "It's not my fault," and start saying, "It's my responsibility." That single shift from blame to responsibility is where transformation begins. Most people spend years waiting for life to be fair before they start living fully. They wait for circumstances to align, for someone to give them a chance, for the world to finally recognize their worth. But here's the truth: life doesn't get easier. You get stronger, and strength begins with ownership. Responsibility isn't about fault. It's about power. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond to it. And that response, that decision to own your life, determines everything that follows. Think about it. When something goes wrong, our natural instinct is to look outward. My boss doesn't appreciate me. My parents didn't support me. My partner doesn't understand me. My environment holds me back. And maybe all those things are true. Maybe the odds are stacked against you. Maybe you were treated unfairly. But here's the brutal reality: blaming them doesn't make your life better. It only keeps you stuck in the same place, rehearsing the same story. The moment you take responsibility, even for things that weren't your fault, something remarkable happens. You reclaim control. When you say, "It's up to me to change this," you move from victim to creator. You stop being at the mercy of life, and you start designing it. I once met someone who told me, "I'm tired of life being unfair." I asked him, "So what are you doing about it?" He said, "There's nothing I can do. The system is broken." And I remember thinking, that's exactly how the system stays broken. Responsibility doesn't mean we accept injustice. It means we decide not to let injustice define us. It's not about ignoring the obstacles. It's about outgrowing them. Every great leader, every inspiring person you admire has this one thing in common: they stopped waiting for permission. They stopped waiting for someone to fix things for them. They decided, if it's to be, it's up to me. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a privilege. Because when you take responsibility, you realize something beautiful. Your future is no longer dependent on luck. It's dependent on choice. Let me make this simple. There are 2 kinds of people in this world: victims who say, "I can't because of them," and leaders who say, "I will despite them." Victims wait for circumstances to change. Leaders change the circumstances. And the only thing that separates them is a decision. The decision to stop complaining and start creating. The decision to stop reacting and start responding. The decision to stop blaming and start building. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean you'll always succeed. You'll fail, you'll fall. You make mistakes, sometimes big ones. But here's the paradox: when you take responsibility even for your failures, you also take control of your growth. When something goes wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? That simple question turns pain into progress. Because the moment you take responsibility for your mistakes, you turn them into teachers. And that's how wisdom is built, not by avoiding failure, but by owning it. Let's go deeper. When you take full responsibility, you'll start noticing something shift inside you. You stop needing validation from others. You stop chasing approval. You stop waiting for people to understand your journey because you understand it yourself. Taking responsibility is not just about doing more. It's about becoming more. When you own your emotions, your reactions, your choices, you become emotionally free. You no longer depend on others to make you happy or circumstances to make you secure. You realize that happiness, confidence, success, they are inside jobs. And that's when life begins to feel lighter. Not because it's easier, but because you've grown stronger. Here's the irony. Most people think responsibility limits their freedom. They think, if I take on too much, I'll feel trapped. But in truth, responsibility is the only path to real freedom. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is the ability to choose your response, no matter what happens. When you take responsibility, no one can manipulate you emotionally. No one can make you feel powerless because you've already decided, I am the author of my life. I remember a line that has stayed with me for years. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust the sails. That's what responsibility is, adjusting the sails. You can't control the economy, but you can control your effort. You can't control what people say, but you can control your attitude. You can't control every outcome, but you can control the decision to keep showing up. When you understand this, you stop being afraid of failure because failure is no longer final. It's feedback. It's a signal, not a sentence. Now, imagine what would happen if you lived every day with this mindset. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? You'd ask, what is this trying to teach me? Instead of saying, they made me feel angry, you'd say, I chose to react with anger, but next time I'll choose differently. That's real power, not the power to control others, but the power to control yourself. So what does taking full responsibility look like in real life? It looks like admitting when you're wrong, even when it's uncomfortable. It looks like apologizing first, not because you're weak, but because you value peace more than pride. It looks like showing up, even when you don't feel ready. It looks like taking action, even when no one else is cheering you on. And here's the magic: the more responsibility you take, the more capable you become. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it grows. Responsibility gives you resilience. Resilience gives you confidence. And confidence gives you momentum. Before you know it, life begins to respond to your energy because you've taken command of it. So today, ask yourself, what part of your life have you been blaming on someone else? What story have you been telling that starts with, I can't because, and what would change if you replace that with, I can and I will? Because the truth is, your life will only change when you stop waiting for someone else to change it for you. Take full responsibility, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to build a life that's truly yours. Own your story, own your choices, own your future. Because in the end, no one else can live your life for you. Decide who you want to be, not what you want to do. We live in a world obsessed with doing. We chase jobs, titles, promotions, certifications, achievements, thinking that success is something external. But here's a question few of us ask: who am I becoming in the process? It sounds simple, but this distinction between doing and being is life-changing. Because if you focus only on what you want to do, you may achieve success, but you may never feel fulfilled. If you focus on who you want to be, your actions, your choices, and your results naturally align with that identity. Let me explain. Most people begin with the what. What career should I choose? What business should I start? What goal should I chase? And then after years of doing, they look in the mirror and ask, who am I? And suddenly they feel lost, because the what never defines the essence of who we are. You can climb a corporate ladder, earn millions, or travel the world, yet feel empty if you haven't decided who you are at the core. So what does it mean to decide who you want to be? It means asking yourself, what values guide me? What kind of person do I want to become in every interaction, in every choice, in every challenge? It means defining the character, not just the resume. It means focusing on the long-term identity over short-term results. Because here's the truth: you cannot build a life of meaningful success without first building the person who deserves it. Think about a few examples. There are people who are incredibly successful in the eyes of the world, wealthy, famous, accomplished, yet they are constantly stressed, anxious, or disconnected. Their what brought them material success, but their remained undefined. On the other hand, there are ordinary people who choose consciously who they want to be. They may not have millions in the bank. They inspire, lead, and impact everyone around them. Why? Because their identity drives their actions. They are consistent, grounded, and purposeful. And in the long run, that becomes far more valuable than any job title or achievement. Let's make this practical. Start by asking, who do I want to be when no one is watching? Do you want to be kind even when treated unfairly? Do you want to be disciplined even when tired? Do you want to be courageous even when afraid? These choices, often invisible, define the foundation of your life. Then ask ye, who do I want to be remembered as? Not what you did, not the money you earned, not the status you acquired, but the person you became in the process. When you make this decision, everything else aligns. Your doing becomes purposeful, your actions reflect your values. Your achievements become meaningful extensions of your identity. Here's a powerful truth: deciding who you want to be creates a compass for every choice. When faced with temptation, distraction, or shortcuts, your identity asks, does this reflect the person I want to be? When facing adversity, your identity whispers, act in a way that your future self will respect. When interacting with others, your identity guides, led with integrity, led with empathy, led with courage. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, this identity molds your life. It turns habits into character, challenges into growth, failures into lessons. I want to share a story. There was a young man who wanted to become a great leader. He studied leadership books, took courses, and followed strategies. But he still struggled. People didn't respect him, colleagues doubted him, and opportunities passed him by. One day, a mentor asked him a simple question: who are you becoming as a leader? Not what are you trying to do? It hit him like a lightning bolt. He realized he had been chasing results, titles, recognition, achievements, without thinking about the person he needed to become. From that day, he decided to focus on character. He became patient, empathetic, disciplined, and trustworthy. And over time, the results followed, the people followed, the recognition followed. He learned the hard way what many never realize: results follow identity, not the other way around. Now let's consider why this decision is so powerful. One, clarity in decision making. When you know who you want to be, decisions become easy. You no longer waste time or energy trying to figure out the best choice. Your identity becomes your filter, your internal compass. Two, consistency in behavior. People are drawn to those who are consistent in their values and actions. When your identity is clear, your actions naturally reflect it. You no longer feel torn between who you are and what you do. Three, resilience in adversity. Life will test you, as it tests all of us. When your identity is anchored in who you want to be, setbacks are no longer devastating, mistakes become lessons, challenges become opportunities to demonstrate character. 4. Fulfillment beyond achievement. When your focus is on who rather than what, you find joy in the journey. You no longer chase success externally. Fulfillment comes from aligning daily actions with the person you aspire to be. Let me challenge you today, instead of asking, what should I do next? Ask, who do I want to be next? Instead of saying, well, I want to earn more, achieve more, or be recognized more. Say, I want to be courageous, disciplined, and kind. Because your life will never be defined by the jobs you hold or the goals you achieve. It will be defined by the person you become in pursuit of them. So take a moment right now, close your eyes and reflect. Who do you want to be when no one is watching, when no one applauds, when life feels quiet and challenging? Write it down, speak it out loud, repeat it to yourself daily. Make it the foundation of every choice, every decision, every action. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you will notice a shift. The doing of your life will start to reflect the being you've chosen. Your actions will feel aligned, purposeful, and meaningful. And the results, they will follow naturally as a reflection of the person you have decided to be. Because here's the ultimate truth. You cannot become someone great by chasing what you want to do. You become someone great by deciding who you want to be and letting that identity guide every action, every choice, every moment. Decide who you want to be, not what you want to do, and watch your life transform. Decide to value growth over comfort. We live in a world that worships comfort. A world that tells us life should be easy, smooth, and predictable. We are trained to avoid pain, seek pleasure, and stick to what's familiar. But here's the paradox: comfort is the enemy of growth. If you always choose what feels easy, safe, or familiar, you will never discover the full extent of what you are capable of. You will never stretch beyond your limits. You will never grow into the person you were meant to be. Growth demands discomfort. Growth demands risk. Growth demands that you step into the unknown. And it all begins with a decision. The decision to value growth over comfort. Let me explain why this decision is so critical. When you prioritize comfort, you protect yourself from failure. You protect yourself from criticism. You protect yourself from the hard work that comes with improvement. It feels safe, but it is also a slow surrender. Comfort gives you a life that is predictable, yes, but it robs you of possibility. Growth, on the other hand, is rarely comfortable. It requires you to face challenges you'd rather avoid. It requires you to embrace uncertainty. It requires you to accept that you might fail, embarrass yourself, or feel inadequate along the way. But here's the beauty. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you expand your capabilities. Every time you step into discomfort, you discover resilience you didn't know you had. Every time you take the harder path, you become stronger, wiser, and more capable. Think about it this way. Imagine a young professional sitting in a comfortable job. They have stability, routine, and predictability. It feels safe. It feels secure. But inside, there's a voice whispering, I could do more. I could be more. I could reach higher. If they always choose comfort, that voice will grow quieter. Not because the potential is gone, but because it's never exercised. And eventually years pass, dreams fade, regret takes root. Now imagine someone else in the same position. They hear that same whisper, but they choose growth. They take on projects that stretch them. They learn skills that challenge them. They speak up, step forward, and take risks. At first, it feels uncomfortable. They doubt themselves. They fear failure. But over time, their abilities expand, their confidence grows, their impact multiplies. That is the difference between comfort and growth. Here's another way to understand it. Comfort is the easy path. Growth is the uphill climb. But the uphill climb offers a view that the flat, easy path never could. When you choose comfort, life feels safe, but it feels small. When you choose growth, life feels risky, but it feels alive. And that's the decision that will change everything. Do you want to feel safe, or do you want to feel alive? Growth over comfort also teaches us patience and perseverance. Nothing worth achieving comes easily. Skills take time to develop. Relationships take effort to nurture. Dreams take dedication to realize. Comfort whispers. Why bother? Why risk failure? Why struggle? Growth answers, because the reward is worth it. Because the struggle is the training ground. Because becoming your best self is worth every challenge. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They chose growth over comfort consistently day after day. They embraced challenges when others avoided them. They pursued learning when others settled. They endured discomfort when others quit. And that's why they didn't just survive, they thrived. Let's consider this in practical terms. Choosing growth over comfort means having difficult conversations when it would be easier to stay silent. It means learning a new skill instead of binge watching shows. Or it means confronting a fear rather than avoiding it. It means leaving a safe job, city, or relationship to pursue something uncertain but meaningful. Every choice like this is a vote for your future self. Every time you choose growth, you invest in your potential. Every time you choose comfort, you delay it. Now, I want to be clear. Growth is not just about external achievements. It's about internal transformation. It's about developing character, discipline, and resilience. It's about becoming the person capable of handling success when it finally arrives. Comfort can create a life that looks good on the outside, but feels hollow on the inside. Growth, even when painful, creates a life that feels rich and meaningful, regardless of external validation. There's a saying, life begins at the end of your comfort zone, and it's true. Every great achievement, every profound insight, every meaningful relationship requires stepping beyond what feels safe. Every breakthrough in business, creativity, health, or personal growth comes from doing something uncomfortable, something unfamiliar, something scary. And it's in those moments of discomfort that you discover who you really are. Ask yourself this question today. Where have you been choosing comfort instead of growth? What opportunities have you avoided because they felt risky or hard? What conversations, challenges, or experiences have you delayed because they were uncomfortable? Now imagine a life where you consistently chose growth. A life where you embraced challenges, faced your fears, and pushed beyond limits. That life doesn't require luck. It doesn't require perfect circumstances. It requires the decision to value growth over comfort every single day. Here's the ultimate truth: comfort is temporary. It gives a fleeting sense of safety, but it leaves you stagnant. Growth is enduring. It may be uncomfortable, it may be hard, it may be uncertain, but it transforms you forever. And every day you have a choice. Do you choose the easy path, the one that feels safe but limits your potential? Or do you choose the path that stretches you, the one that may be uncomfortable but builds a life worth living? Because here's what few people realize: your life is the sum of the decisions you make between comfort and growth. Decide to value growth over comfort. Decide to embrace the struggle, the challenge, and the unknown. Decide to stretch beyond what feels safe. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you will become stronger, wiser, and more capable. Your actions will start reflecting your highest potential. Your life will begin to transform. Not because circumstances changed, but because you did. Decide to be patient with the process. We live in a world addicted to speed, fast results, instant gratification, overnight success. Everything around us screams, do more. Achieve faster, hurry up, and yet, most meaningful achievements in life do not happen overnight. Real transformation, real mastery, and real impact require time, consistency, and patience. This is where many people fail. They start with energy, passion, and vision, only to burn out or give up when results don't appear immediately. They confuse effort with instant outcomes. They measure progress by what they can see today, rather than what they are building for tomorrow. True success, lasting change, and profound growth do not follow the speed of the impatient. They follow the rhythm. Those who understand one simple truth: life is a process, not an event. Let me explain. Patience is not passive, it is active. It is not waiting for life to hand you what you want. It is consistently showing up, doing the right things, and trusting that over time, the effort compounds. Think about a tree. It doesn't sprout overnight. It begins as a seed, buried in soil, unseen. Every day it grows slowly, roots digging deep, trunk growing stronger, branches stretching toward the sky. And for years, it appears nothing is happening. Yet beneath the surface, life is quietly unfolding. This is exactly how growth works in life. Every skill you develop, every relationship you nurture, every goal you pursue is like planting a seed. It takes time, attention, and patience. And yet the human mind craves instant results. We want the tree to bloom on day one. We want mastery on the first try. We want recognition before we've truly earned it. Here's the paradox: the very process we resist is what shapes us into who we need to become. Patience is not just about waiting, it's about trusting. Trusting that the consistent effort, the small steps, the unseen progress will one day reveal itself in the form of results, transformation, and impact. Consider the world's most accomplished people: athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, leaders. Their greatness did not come from rushing. It came from embracing the process, training every day, refining their craft, learning from failures, adjusting strategies, and showing up even when the results were invisible. The impatient see only what is missing. The patient see what is building. Now, being patient doesn't mean tolerating mediocrity or staying stagnant. It means committing to the right actions consistently, even when progress feels slow. The key is to shift your focus. Stop asking, how soon will I succeed? Start asking, am I doing the right things today to build the future I want? Every small, deliberate action matters. Every failure is a lesson. Every delay is an opportunity to strengthen your skills, character, and resilience. I want to share a story. There was a young entrepreneur who wanted to start a business. He invested his savings, worked day and night, and dreamed of rapid success. After months, he had no clients, no revenue, and felt like giving up. Friends told him to quit. Family doubted him. He wanted instant results, a sign that he was on the right path. But he made one critical decision. He chose patience. He focused on improving his product, learning from feedback, and showing up consistently. Months turned into years. Slowly, clients came. Slowly, revenue grew. Slowly, his vision began to materialize. By the time he looked back, he realized that every moment of waiting, every failure, every challenge had prepared him for sustainable success. If he had rushed, given up, or taken shortcuts, none of it would have lasted. Patience allowed him to build not just a business, but a foundation that could withstand challenges and grow for years to come. The purpose transforms life from a series of obligations into a journey of meaning. Ask yourself today, am I living for pressure or purpose? Or are my decisions driven by fear, expectation, or obligation? Or are they guided by vision, values, and impact? The decision is yours. So today, make this commitment. Decide to live with purpose, not pressure. Align your actions with your values. Focus on what truly matters. Measure success not by external expectations, but by alignment, contribution, and fulfillment. Because the truth is this: A life lived under pressure may appear successful, but it is rarely meaningful. A life lived with purpose may be challenging, but it is always fulfilling. And when you make the decision to live with purpose, you free yourself from the tyranny of external demands. You reclaim your energy, your clarity, and your direction. You live not for the noise of the world, but for the call of your own life, your values, your impact, and your legacy. Live with purpose, not pressure, and watch your life transform. Life doesn't change because of time, it changes because of decisions. And the next time you find yourself asking, what should I do? Ask instead, who do I want to become? Because that answer will decide everything else. The best route. But shortcuts rarely deliver lasting results. True success is never instant. It is earned through the patient accumulation of effort. So, how do you embrace patience in a world obsessed with speed? 1. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Fall in love with what you do daily, the learning, the effort, the small wins. Results will follow. 2. Celebrate small progress. Even if the results aren't visible yet, acknowledge the growth, the improvement, and the lessons. 3. Shift your timeline. Think in years, not weeks. Think in decades, not months. Growth compounds over time. 4. Trust yourself. Believe that your consistent effort will pay off. Doubt is temporary. Patience is enduring. 5. Be resilient in setbacks. When results are delayed, don't give up. Every challenge is part of the process. Every failure is a lesson disguised as difficulty. Here's the ultimate truth. Impatience creates anxiety, frustration, burnout. Patience creates clarity, strength, endurance. The process may feel invisible. The work may seem hard. The progress may appear slow, but every small step, every repetition, every effort compounds. And one day, often when you least expect it, the results appear. Your patience becomes your power. Your consistency becomes your legacy. Your willingness to trust the process becomes the foundation of everything you want to achieve. So today, ask yourself, are you impatient with your journey? Are you rushing results, comparing yourself to others, or giving up too soon? Decide instead to embrace the process. Decide to trust that your consistent effort matters. Decide to be patient even when progress is invisible. Because the reality is this: the world may not reward speed. It may not reward urgency. It rewards persistence, patience, and consistent growth. Decide to trust the process. Decide to show up every day, do the work, and allow time to unfold your potential. And in the end, you will realize that the journey itself, the waiting, the learning, the struggle was the most valuable part of your success. Decide to surround yourself with the right people. We are social creatures. It's in our nature to connect, belong, and seek acceptance. And yet, there's a hidden force that shapes our lives more than talent, luck, or hard work, the people we spend our time with. The truth is simple, yet profound. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Your habits, your mindset, your standards, and even your dreams are influenced by those around you. If you want to rise, you must be intentional about who you allow into your inner circle. This is not a casual choice. This is a life-defining decision. Let me start with a story. There was a young professional full of ambition, hungry to succeed. He had big dreams but lacked direction. He spent most of his time with people who were comfortable, cynical, and content with mediocrity. They laughed at his goals. They questioned his ambitions. Slowly, he began to doubt himself. His energy waned. His vision dimmed. Then he met a mentor, someone who had achieved what he dreamed of, someone disciplined, motivated, and wise. He started surrounding himself with people who inspired him, challenged him, and held him accountable. The difference was immediate. His mindset shifted. His motivation soared. His results began to follow. The lesson is clear. The people around you can either elevate you or diminish you. Think about it for a moment. Who you spend your time with shapes law, your mindset. Are they optimistic and growth-oriented, or negative and limiting? For your habits, do they inspire discipline or reinforce laziness? For your standards, do they encourage excellence or accept mediocrity? For your vision, do they challenge you to dream bigger or hold you to the status quo? The right people act like mirrors, showing you the best version of yourself. The wrong people act like anchors, holding you back from the life you are capable of living. Choosing the right people isn't just about finding friends who are nice or supportive. It's about being surrounded by those who reflect the person you want to become. Ask yourself, do they inspire you to be better? Do they challenge your assumptions in constructive ways? Do they celebrate your wins and push you through your losses? Do they encourage growth over comfort? If the answer is no, it may be time to reevaluate your circle. Here's the harsh reality. Most people don't realize how much influence their inner circle has over their lives. They blame external circumstances for their stagnation, frustration, or lack of progress. Yet, often the invisible chains are not in the world. They're in the relationships they maintain. Negative, toxic, or complacent people are more than draining. They are infectious. Their fear becomes your fear. Their doubts become your doubts. Their habits become your habits. Conversely, the right people are contagious too. Their courage sparks your courage. Their persistence inspires your persistence. Their wisdom fuels your growth. When you spend time with people who are ambitious, disciplined, and purpose-driven, their energy naturally elevates yours. This is why the decision to surround yourself with the right people is not optional. It is essential. And the decision isn't just about finding the right people. It's also about becoming the right person, because your circle reflects your energy. The more you grow, the more you attract people who match your mindset. The person you become will determine the people you attract. If you aspire to greatness, you must first raise your own standards, then intentionally choose companions who support your journey. Think about it like this. Why? If you want to be disciplined, spend time with disciplined people. If you want to be courageous, spend time with courageous people. If you want to be kind, spend time with kind people. If you want to be successful, spend time with people who have already walked the path you are pursuing. Your circle becomes a living reflection of your aspirations. Let me give you a practical framework for this. 1, evaluate your current circle. Write down the 5 people you spend the most time with. Ask yourself, are they elevating me or holding me back? 2, decide who you want to be. Define the person you aspire to become. Now, seek out relationships that mirror that identity. 3, invest in growth-oriented relationships. Spend more time with mentors, peers, and friends who challenge you. Limit time with those who drain your energy or reinforce limitations. 4, be intentional. Relationships don't just happen. You must create them. Network with purpose. Seek guidance. Find communities that inspire and push you forward. 5, become a positive influence as you grow. Ensure that you are also contributing positively to others. Growth is reciprocal. Here's the subtle but crucial truth. Your success is rarely a solo journey. Your influence, guidance, and support from others often create the momentum you need to reach your highest potential. And the wrong people can quietly sabotage your progress without you even realizing it. That is why the decision to surround yourself with the right people is one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make. Ask yourself, who in my life inspires me? Who challenges me to grow? Who reflects the values and standards I aspire to? Who do I want to spend more time with moving forward? And just as importantly, who drains me, limits me, or holds me back? Who am I willing to distance myself from to protect my growth? Because the people you allow closest to you are not just companions, they are architects of your future. Remember, growth is contagious, so is stagnation. Choose wisely, protect your energy, align your relationships with your aspirations, surround yourself with those who make you better, and watch how every aspect of your life begins to elevate. The decision to surround yourself with the right people may feel uncomfortable at first. It may require setting boundaries, making tough choices, and leaving old habits behind, but the long-term impact is immeasurable. So today, make this decision. Be intentional about your circle. Seek those who inspire, challenge, and elevate you. Distance yourself from those who drain or limit you, and become the kind of person worthy of the relationships you desire. Because your life will reflect the company you keep. Your energy will match theirs, your results will mirror their influence, and the right people can transform your potential into reality. Decide to forgive yourself and others. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood concepts in life. Many think it's about condoning what happened, forgetting the pain, or letting someone off the hook. But forgiveness is none of those things. Forgiveness is a decision you make for yourself, not for anyone else. It is the key to freeing your mind, your heart, and your life from the chains of anger, resentment, and regret. Because here's the truth, holding on to bitterness only hurts the person holding it. Think about it. How many times have you replayed a hurtful moment in your mind? How many times have you raged against someone who wronged you, only to feel exhausted, drained, and small afterward? How many times have you punished yourself for mistakes you wish you could undo? All of it consumes energy that could be used for creation, growth, and progress. Anger and resentment are like chains, invisible but heavy. They weigh you down, limit your potential, and keep you tethered to the past. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is the key to emotional liberation. It allows you to let go of what no longer serves you. It does not erase the past. It does not excuse the wrongdoing. It simply frees you to move forward. Let's start with forgiving others. Every human will at some point hurt you, intentionally or unintentionally. When someone betrays, criticizes, or disappoints you, your natural instinct is to retaliate or hold grudges. But here's the paradox. The person you need to forgive the most is not them, it's you. Why? Because every moment you spend consumed by anger, resentment, or blame is a moment you take away from your life. You lose focus, energy, and clarity. You delay your growth. You stall your progress. Forgiving others does not mean forgetting. It does not mean allowing them to continue hurting you. It simply means that you refuse to let their actions dictate your emotional state or control your life. And then there's self-forgiveness, arguably the harder kind. We are often harsher on ourselves than anyone else could ever be. We replay our mistakes, dwell on missed opportunities, and criticize our weaknesses. We hold ourselves to impossible standards. But self-forgiveness is not about giving yourself a free pass. It is about acknowledging your imperfections, learning from them, and making a conscious decision to move forward. When you forgive yourself, you stop living in the shadow of your past. You stop letting guilt define your choices. You reclaim your energy, your confidence, and your ability to grow. Consider this: every great person, every leader, every achiever has failed at some point. They have made mistakes, hurt others, or fallen short of their own expectations. Yet, the difference between those who thrive and those who stagnate is the willingness to forgive themselves and others. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength. It is a conscious decision to reclaim your life from the weight of past pain. It is choosing freedom over bitterness, clarity over resentment, and peace over anger. Here's a practical way to embrace forgiveness. 1, acknowledge the pain. Do not deny or minimize your hurt. Recognize it fully. Name it. Feel it. Understand the impact, reflect on how holding on to anger or guilt has affected your life, your health, your focus, your relationships, and your growth. 3, choose forgiveness. Decide consciously to release the burden. Understand that forgiveness is for you, not for anyone else. 4, learn the lesson. Every painful experience carries a lesson. Understand what it taught you about yourself, others, or life. 5, move forward. Shift your focus from what happened to what you can create. Let go of the past and invest your energy in your future. Forgiveness also rewires your mindset. When you forgive, you stop seeing yourself as a victim. You stop letting the past control your decisions. You reclaim your power and ownership of your life. Without forgiveness, you're stuck, constantly reacting, replaying old stories, and carrying unnecessary weight. With forgiveness, you are free, empowered, focused, and ready to embrace growth, opportunity, and purpose. Think about it this way: every grudge, every regret, every moment of resentment is a stone in your backpack. The longer you carry it, the heavier your journey becomes. But when you decide to forgive, you set that stone down. Suddenly, the path ahead is lighter, clearer, and open for you to move forward. Forgiveness does not always come easily. Sometimes the hurt is deep, the betrayal is severe, the mistake feels unforgivable. But the longer you wait, the more the poison spreads inside you. Every day you delay forgiveness is another day you carry unnecessary pain. And here's the paradox: you can forgive without condoning, without forgetting, and without reconciliation. Forgiveness is about releasing yourself, not excusing them. Ask yourself, who do I need to forgive today? Who has hurt me, limited me, or disappointed me, and I am still carrying their weight? What part of my own past do I need to forgive to move forward? Because the decision to forgive, even when it feels impossible, is the single most powerful act of self-liberation. Here's the ultimate truth: forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about you reclaiming your power, your peace, and your potential. It is about deciding to live fully instead of being chained to the past. When you forgive both yourself and others, you create space in your life for growth, joy, and connection. You stop wasting energy on what cannot be changed. You start focusing on what can: your actions, your mindset, your future. So today, make this decision: decide to forgive. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Decide to release anger, resentment, and guilt, not because it's easy, because it is necessary for your growth. Decide to reclaim your energy, your peace, and your life. Because the truth is this: forgiveness is the key to moving forward. Forgiveness is the path to freedom. Forgiveness is the bridge between who you were and who you can become. And once you make that decision, everything else in your life begins to transform. Decide to speak the truth, even when it costs you. Truth is one of the most powerful forces in life. And yet, so few people embrace it fully. We are taught to bend, to conform, to hide, and to say what is convenient. We are taught that honesty has limits, that truth must be tempered, delayed, or disguised. But here's the reality: living without truth costs far more than the discomfort of speaking it. Truth is not just a moral ideal. It is a foundation for trust, integrity, and authenticity. And those who decide to speak the truth, even when it is difficult, unpopular, or costly, are the ones who create meaningful impact in the world. Let me start with a simple observation. Have you ever lied, even a little, to make life easier, to avoid conflict, embarrassment, or judgment? Of course you have. We all have. Now consider the consequences. Lies, even small ones, create cracks. They erode trust. They weaken relationships. They chip away at self-respect. And over time, those cracks grow until the weight of the unspoken truth becomes unbearable. On the other hand, speaking the truth, even when uncomfortable, strengthens you. It aligns your words with your values. It clarifies your intentions. It creates trust and respect, both with others and with yourself. The decision to speak the truth is rarely easy. It may cost you friendships, opportunities, or approval. It may make others uncomfortable or upset. It may expose you to criticism, rejection, or conflict. But here's the paradox: the cost of not speaking the truth is far higher. When you hide the truth, you live in tension, you compromise your integrity, you sacrifice authenticity, and eventually, the weight of unspoken truths will erode your confidence and your clarity. Think about it this way: every relationship, every partnership, every opportunity in life relies on trust. Trust is fragile. It is built slowly and destroyed quickly. The foundation of trust is truth. When you speak the truth, even at a cost, you build credibility. You create alignment between your words and actions. You demonstrate integrity. And in doing so, you attract people who value the same principles. Honesty, transparency, and accountability. Let me share a story. There was a young professional working in a company where unethical decisions were being made. He noticed that some choices were harming clients and compromising the company's integrity. Most of his colleagues stayed silent. It was easier to go along, to avoid confrontation. But he made a decision: he would speak the truth. It wasn't easy. He risked his reputation, his job, and the approval of peers. He faced criticism and resistance. But by speaking honestly, he not only stopped harmful practices, he also earned respect from leaders and colleagues who valued integrity. The cost was real, the fear was real, but the impact was far greater than the risk. This is the power of speaking the truth. Now, speaking the truth is not about being confrontational or harsh. It's about being clear, authentic, and principled. Speak truth to yourself first. Acknowledge your weaknesses, your mistakes, and your areas for growth. Own them. Do not hide behind excuses or denial. Speak truth to others respectfully. Communicate honestly, even when it is uncomfortable. Be courageous but compassionate. Speak truth consistently. Integrity is not a one-time act, it is a habit. Consistency builds trust and credibility that lasts a lifetime. Here's why this decision is transformative. 1. Authenticity. When you speak the truth, you stop pretending. You stop living a life based on others' expectations. You become authentic, and authenticity attracts opportunities, people, and experiences that align with your values. 2. Courage. Speaking truth builds courage. Every time you face discomfort and speak honestly, you reinforce your inner strength. Over time, fear loses its power and confidence grows. 3. Freedom. Truth liberates. When you're honest, you no longer carry the weight of deception, hiding, or pretense. You live openly and freely, aligned with your principles. 4. Impact. The world needs truth tellers. Ideas, systems, and societies improve because people are willing to speak honestly, even when it costs them. Ask yourself today, where in my life am I holding back the truth? What have I avoided saying because it's uncomfortable or inconvenient? What impact could I create if I decided to speak honestly, respectfully, and courageously? Because the reality is this: inaction and silence have consequences. They erode trust, destroy opportunities, and compromise your integrity. Truth, even when difficult, builds strength, clarity, and purpose. Here's the ultimate lesson. Speaking the truth is not just about morality, it's about power. It is about reclaiming your voice. It is about choosing alignment over convenience. It is about living a life without regrets. And yes, sometimes it will cost you. People may misunderstand you, doors may close, relationships may strain, but the cost of silence, compromise, or deception is far greater: a life constrained by fear, dishonesty, and unfulfilled potential. So today, make this decision. Decide to speak the truth, even when it costs you. Decide to align your words with your values. Decide to honor your integrity, even when it is uncomfortable. Decide to be courageous, consistent, and authentic in your communication. Because the world is full of noise, shortcuts, and compromises. Truth spoken bravely cuts through, it builds respect, inspires others, and lays the foundation for a life of meaning and impact. Remember, your words matter. Your honesty matters. Your integrity matters. The courage to speak the truth will shape your life more than talent, luck, or opportunity. And in the end, the decisions you make in these moments, to be honest, even when it costs you, will define the legacy you leave behind. Decide to live with purpose, not pressure. We live in a world that constantly pushes us. Deadlines, expectations, social pressures, comparisons, obligations. It's easy to get caught in the rhythm of doing what's expected rather than what's meaningful. We live under pressure, external or internal, and mistake business for progress and stress for significance. But there's a profound difference between living with purpose and living under pressure. Pressure drives urgency. Purpose drives direction. Pressure leads to stress, burnout, and shallow achievements. Purpose leads to clarity, fulfillment, and meaningful impact. The decision to live with purpose, not pressure, is a decision that can transform your entire life. Let's start with understanding the difference. Pressure is external. It's created by deadlines, expectations, competition, or societal standards. It focuses on what must be done rather than why it matters. Pressure often leads to anxiety, mistakes, and a sense of being trapped in someone else's story. Purpose, on the other hand, is internal. It comes from values, passion, and vision. It answers the question, why do I exist? What impact do I want to create? Purpose guides decisions, fuels motivation, and provides resilience even in the face of challenges. Here's the critical point: you cannot live both at the same time. If you let pressure dominate your choices, life feels heavy. You chase results without meaning. You exhaust yourself for the approval of others. You measure success by external standards rather than personal alignment. But when you live with purpose, pressure becomes irrelevant. Challenges are reframed as opportunities. Obstacles are reframed as lessons. Your energy is focused on what truly matters, not what others demand or expect. Consider this story. There was a young professional climbing the corporate ladder. She was constantly under pressure. Deadlines, expectations from bosses, and the desire to outperform peers. She achieved milestones, received praise, and earned promotions. But inside, she felt hollow. Every achievement came with anxiety and exhaustion. One day, she reflected deeply: am I living for others, or am I living for what truly matters to me? She realized she had been letting external pressure dictate her life. She began to focus on purpose, the work that aligned with her values, the projects that made her feel alive, and the contribution she wanted to leave behind. Her results didn't diminish. In fact, they improved. She was more creative, more effective, and more fulfilled. Purpose had shifted her perspective. Pressure no longer controlled her life. Living with purpose begins with asking yourself some essential questions. What matters most to me? What impact do I want to create in my life and in the lives of others? What will I regret not pursuing if I look back years from now? Where am I living to fulfill expectations, or am I living to fulfill my calling? These questions are simple, but answering them requires courage, honesty, and reflection. And once you answer them, every decision, every action, and every goal becomes clear and aligned. Here's the practical truth: living with purpose does not remove challenges. It does not eliminate stress, mistakes, or setbacks, but it gives them meaning. When pressure arises, as it inevitably will, Purpose provides a framework for navigating it. It tells you which battles are worth fighting. It tells you which paths to pursue and which distractions to ignore. It transforms stress into focus, obstacles into lessons, and work into fulfillment. Here's a simple exercise to align with purpose. 1. Identify your core values. List the principles that guide your life. These are the non-negotiables, what you will not compromise under pressure. 2. Define your mission. Ask yourself, what contribution do I want to make in my life and work? This is your North Star, your compass that guides every choice. 3. Set purposeful goals. Align your daily actions with your mission and values. Not every task needs to be urgent, but every task should be meaningful. 4. Filter out pressure. Recognize external pressures that distract or misalign you. Decide consciously which expectations to accept and which to release. 5. Reflect regularly. Pause and ask, am I living my purpose or am I responding to pressure? Make adjustments to realign with what matters. Living with purpose also transforms relationships. When you live under pressure, interactions can become transactional. You act out of obligation, fear, or self-interest. But when you live with purpose, relationships are grounded in authenticity and meaning. You connect with others not because you must, but because it aligns with your values and vision. Similarly, living with purpose transforms work. You stop chasing prestige, income, or approval as primary goals. Instead, work becomes an extension of your mission, a means to create impact and express your values. Stress still exists, but it becomes a signal rather than a master. Here's the ultimate lesson: pressure will always exist. Deadlines, expectations, competition, you cannot escape it completely. But purpose is a choice, and choosing it gives you freedom. Purpose allows you to act with intention, not reaction. Purpose allows you to navigate challenges without losing yourself. Decision to be patient also protects you from unnecessary disappointment. Impatience leads to frustration, stress, and rash decisions. We start comparing ourselves to others, measuring our progress against someone else's highlight reel. We abandon good strategies because we can't see immediate results. Patience teaches you to focus on your journey, your growth, and your timing. It allows you to play the long game where compounding effort, learning, and resilience create exponential results. Here's the beautiful truth: every meaningful goal follows a process, and relationships require trust, time, and understanding. A mastery requires practice, repetition, and failure. A health requires discipline, consistent habits, and recovery. A wealth requires saving, investing, and patience. And yet, we are conditioned to believe that the fastest route is